Hey, welcome back to Why I Hate Being a Wife. I'm your host, and today we need to talk about something that nobody wants to admit, but everyone knows is true. Men thrive in marriage, women survive it. There's all this research, all these studies, all this data showing that married men are happier, healthier, live longer, earn more money, and have better lives than single men. But married women, we're more depressed, more anxious, more stressed, and more exhausted than single women. Men get a life upgrade when they get married. Women get a second full-time job. So today, we're breaking down exactly how and why men thrive in marriage while women are just trying to survive. Let's get into it. Let's start with what the research actually shows. Because this isn't just anecdotal. This isn't just me being bitter. This is data. Married men compared to single men live longer significantly, are healthier, better health outcomes across the board, earn more money, marriage wage premium for men, are happier, report higher life satisfaction, have lower rates of depression and anxiety, have better mental health, are less likely to engage in risky behaviors, recover better from illnesses, are more successful professionally. Basically, marriage is great for men. Now, let's look at married women compared to single women. Higher rates of depression, higher rates of anxiety, more stressed, more exhausted, report lower life satisfaction, worse mental health outcomes, more likely to be on antidepressants, more likely to report feeling lonely, even while married. Career advancement slows or stops. Earning potential decreases. Basically, marriage is hard on women. The data is clear. Men benefit from marriage. Women endure it. Why? Because marriage gives men everything they need while taking from women everything we have. Let me break down exactly what men gain when they get married. A full-time household manager. When a man gets married, he gets someone to manage the household, coordinate schedules, remember everything, plan everything, organize everything, keep track of all the details. He used to have to do this himself. Now, it's handled. His mental load decreases dramatically because his wife is now carrying it. That's a massive quality of life upgrade. 2. A full-time caregiver. He gets someone to cook his meals, do his laundry, clean his home, take care of his needs, manage his health, making doctor appointments, tracking medications, take care of him when he's sick. He used to have to do all of this himself. Now, someone else does it. That's hours and hours of his time freed up every week. Number 3, child care provider. If they have kids, he gets someone to do the majority of childcare. Be the default parent. Handle the kids' needs. Manage their schedules. Take them to appointments. Do bedtime, bath time, homework, everything. He gets to be a father without doing most of the actual work of parenting. He gets the benefits, kids, family, without the costs, time, energy, labor. He, he gets the benefits, kids, family, without the costs, time, energy, labor. Number 4, social coordinator. He gets someone to manage his family relationships, remember birthdays, buy gifts, organize visits, maintain his friendships, arrange couple hangouts, social events, plan holidays and celebrations, handle all the social and emotional labor of maintaining relationships. He gets to show up to events that someone else planned, give gifts that someone else bought, and maintain relationships that someone else manages. His social life is maintained without him having to do the work. Number 5, emotional support. He gets someone to listen to his problems, support him emotionally, validate his feelings, help him process emotions, be his therapist without the therapist bill. Research shows that men overwhelmingly rely on their wives for emotional support, while women have to seek emotional support from friends, family, or actual therapists because their husbands don't provide it. He gets free emotional labor. Number 6, sexual access. He gets regular sexual access to a partner without having to date, court, or put in effort. And in many marriages, he gets that sexual access without having to reciprocate or prioritize his wife's pleasure. He gets his needs met. Period. Number 7, professional advantage. Married men earn more than single men. The marriage wage premium. Why? Because they have wives at home managing everything else, so they can focus 100% on their careers. They can work longer hours, take promotions that require travel, network after work, say yes to opportunities because their wives are handling everything at home. Marriage is a professional asset for men. Number 8, health benefits. Married men live longer than single men. They're healthier. They have better health outcomes. Why? Because their wives cook healthier meals, remind them to go to the doctor, make their appointments, track their medications, notice symptoms they ignore, take care of them when they're sick. His wife is his unpaid health care coordinator. Number 9, status and stability. Society sees married men as more responsible, more mature, more stable, better employees, better leaders. Marriages gives men social credibility and status. Just by being married, he's viewed more positively. So, let's recap what men get from marriage. Household management, cooking, cleaning, laundry, child care, social coordination, emotional support, sexual access, professional advantages, health benefits, social status. All of this, he gets all of this when he gets married. No wonder men are happier and healthier. Marriage is great for them. Now, let's talk about what women get from marriage. Theoretically, we should get the same things, right? Partnership, support, shared labor, love. But that's not what actually happens. Here's what women actually get from marriage. Number 1, a second full-time job. When a woman gets married, she doesn't get a household manager. She becomes the household manager. She takes on all the mental load, remembering, planning, coordinating everything. The majority of housework, even when she works full-time. The majority of childcare, she becomes the default parent. All the emotional labor, managing everyone's feelings, maintaining relationships. She doesn't get help, she becomes the help. Number 2, more work, not less. Studies show that women get married. Number 2, more work, not less. Studies show that when women get married, they actually do more housework than when they were single. But when men get married, they do less housework than when they were single. Let that sink in. Marriage increases women's workload and decreases men's workload. We're not getting a partner, we're getting a dependent. Number 3, career sacrifice. Married women's careers suffer. We're the ones who go part-time or quit when kids come, turn down promotions that require travel, leave work early for sick kids, miss networking opportunities, have gaps in our resumes, earn less over our lifetimes. Meanwhile, married men's careers thrive because their wives are handling everything at home. His career success is built on our career sacrifice. Number 4, financial dependence. Many married women become financially dependent on their husbands, especially if they stay home with kids or go part-time. This creates power imbalance, vulnerability, loss of autonomy, having to ask permission to spend money, being questioned about purchases, loss of financial identity. We trade financial independence for what exactly? Number 5, physical sacrifice. If we have children, we sacrifice our bodies. Pregnancy, 9 months of physical changes, discomfort, risk. Childbirth, major medical event, trauma, pain. Postpartum recovery, 6+ weeks minimum. Permanent body changes, weight, shape, stretch marks, scars. Long-term health issues, prolapsed organs, incontinence, chronic pain. Our bodies are permanently changed. His? Unchanged. Number 6, loss of identity. Married women often lose themselves. We become wife and mom instead of our own names. Our hobbies disappear. no time. Our friendships suffer, no energy. Our individual identities fade. We forget who we were before marriage and kids. We become supporting characters in someone else's story. Number 7, emotional labor without support. We provide emotional support to our husbands, but we often don't receive emotional support in return. Research shows women are more likely to seek therapy, rely on friends for emotional support, feel emotionally isolated in their marriages, report that their husbands don't understand them. We give emotional labor but don't receive it. Number 8, the mental load. The mental load is exhausting. We're the ones who remember everything, plan everything, anticipate everything, coordinate everything, worry about everything. It's like having a browser with 47 tabs open in your brain 24/7. And it never stops. Even when we're sleeping, we're mentally going through the next day's schedule. This mental load is invisible, unpaid, and exhausting. Number 9, loneliness. Here's a cruel irony. Married women report feeling lonely. Even though we're partnered, we feel alone because we're doing everything alone. Our husbands aren't emotionally present. We have no time for friendships. We're isolated in our own homes. No one sees or appreciates what we do. We're surrounded by family, but profoundly alone. Number 10, health decline. While married men get healthier, married women's health often declines. Higher stress levels, cortisol through the roof, more depression and anxiety, sleep deprivation, especially with young kids, chronic exhaustion, stress-related illnesses, mental health struggles. Marriage is literally bad for our health. So, let's recap what women get from marriage. More work, household management, child care, emotional labor, career sacrifice, financial dependence, physical sacrifice, body changes from pregnancy and birth, loss of identity, loss of identity, mental load, loneliness, health decline, exhaustion. No wonder married women are more depressed than single women. Marriage is hard on us. Here's a core issue. Marriage is supposed to be a partnership, equal partnership, but it's not equal. Men get more free time, more leisure, more career success, more money, better health, longer life, someone taking care of them. Women get more work, less free time, career sacrifice, financial dependence, exhaustion, responsibility for everyone. It's not equal, it's not even close. And yet, we're told marriage is partnership. You're a team. It should be 50-50. But the data shows it's not 50-50. It's more like 70-30 or 80-20 when women do it, with women doing the majority. Why do men thrive in marriage while women survive? The answer is simple. Men thrive in marriage because marriage gives them a traditional wife, someone who manages the home, takes care of him, raises the kids, handles all the invisible work, supports his career, meets his needs. That's a huge upgrade from single life where he had to do all of that himself. But women don't get a traditional wife. We become the traditional wife. We take on all that work without getting equivalent support in return. We don't get someone to manage our household, support our career, take care of us, meet our needs. We're expected to do all of that for ourselves and for him and for the kids. That's why we're exhausted. That's why we're depressed. That's why we're surviving instead of thriving. People love to say, happy wife, happy life, as if keeping wives happy is important for marriages. But the data shows the opposite is true. Happy husband, happy life. Research shows that a husband's happiness is a better predictor of marital satisfaction than a wife's happiness. Translation: if he's happy, the marriage is considered good, regardless of whether she's happy. A husband can be happy in a marriage where his wife is miserable because he's getting everything he needs while she's doing all the work. But a wife is rarely happy in a marriage where her husband is miserable because if he's unhappy, she's probably doing even more work trying to fix it. So, happy wife, happy life is bullshit. The reality is, the wife's happiness is often sacrificed for the husband's happiness. Here's the most telling part. When marriages end, what happens? Men report being devastated. They lost their household manager, caregiver, emotional support. Health declines, no one managing their health anymore. Often remarry quickly, they need that support system back. Struggle to maintain relationships, no one managing their social life. Have a harder time adjusting. They were dependent on their wife's labor. Women report feeling relieved. The burden is lifted. Often say they're finally able to breathe, are happier after divorce than they were in marriage. Don't rush to remarry. They're fine alone. Adjust better to single life. They were already doing everything alone anyway. Women leave marriages and thrive. Men leave marriages and struggle. This tells you everything you need to know about who was actually benefiting from the marriage. If women are happier after divorce, it means marriage wasn't serving them. It was burdening them. If men struggle after divorce, it means marriage was serving them. They were benefiting from it. The COVID-19 pandemic proved all of this. When everyone was home, women did even more housework and childcare. Women managed remote learning for kids. Women tried to work from home while managing everything else. Women's mental health tanked. Meanwhile, men worked from home with minimal interruption because wives managed the kids. Men's housework increased slightly but nowhere near 50-50. Many men treated work from home like a vacation. Wife handles everything. Women were collapsing under the weight of it all. And what did society do? Published articles about how moms are struggling, as if it's a temporary pandemic issue. No, we were already struggling. The pandemic just made it visible. Mothers were already doing everything. We were already exhausted. We were already drowning. The pandemic just made it impossible to hide anymore. And when women started saying, "I can't do this anymore," society clutched its pearls. But we'd been saying, "I can't do this" for years. You just weren't listening. Sociologist Arlie Oakeshield wrote about this in the 1980s. Sociologist Arlie Oakeshield wrote about this in the 1980s. The 1980s. She called it the second shift. Women work their paid job first shift, then come home and work their unpaid job second shift of housework, childcare, emotional. Women work their paid job first shift, then come home and work their unpaid job second shift of housework, childcare, emotional labor. Men work their paid job and then relax. That was identified in the 1980s. It's now 2026, and it's still happening. 40 years later, women are still working the second shift. 40 years later, men are still benefiting from women's unpaid labor. 40 years later, marriage is still better for men than for women. Nothing has changed. If marriage is so bad for women, why do we still do it? Good question. Some women get married because they genuinely love their partner and hope for true partnership. They want children, and marriage is still the expected path. Social pressure, family expectations, cultural norms, economic reasons, financial stability, health insurance. They believe their marriage will be different. Not all men. They don't realize how unequal it will be until they're in it. And some marriages are good. Some men are true partners. Some marriages are equal. But statistically, most aren't. Most marriages follow the pattern. Man benefits, gets support, has career success, lives longer, is healthier. Woman sacrifices, does more work, career suffers, health declines, loses identity. And many women don't realize the extent of the inequality until they're out. And many women don't realize the extent of the inequality until they are already locked in. Already married, already pregnant, already financially dependent, already isolated from friends, already exhausted. By the time you realize it's not equal, you're trapped. I've lived this. I'm living this. I'm the one who does 100% of childcare, does 100% of housework, manages the entire household, carries the mental load, sacrifices my career, haven't worked in 6+ years, sacrificed my body, 3 high-risk pregnancies, permanent damage, has no financial independence, is exhausted, stressed, and barely surviving. And my husband, he works. That's it. That's his contribution. And he thinks that's enough. He thinks he's holding up his end. Meanwhile, I'm drowning. I'm doing the work of 3 full-time jobs. Childcare full-time, household management full-time, emotional labor full-time. And he's doing one job, his paid work. But we're supposed to be equal partners? He's thriving. I'm surviving. And he doesn't even see it. He doesn't see that his life is better because of marriage while mine is harder. He lives longer, earns more, is healthier, has more free time, all because I'm doing the invisible work that makes his life possible. He's thriving at my expense. He's thriving at my expense. And when I point out the inequality, I'm ungrateful, I'm complaining, I'm not appreciating what he does. But what does he do? He goes to work, which he'd be doing anyway, married or not. And I do everything else. And somehow I'm supposed to be grateful for that? Here's what needs to change for marriage to work for both partners. Men need to do actual equal partnership. Not helping with housework, doing housework. Not babysitting their own kids, parenting. Not asking what needs to be done, seeing what needs to be done, and doing it. Equal means 50-50, not 80-20, with women doing 80%. Society needs to value unpaid labor. The work women do at home needs to be recognized, valued, compensated through alimony, through social security credits, through something. If a man divorced his wife and had to pay for all the services she provided, childcare, housekeeping, cooking, household management, social coordination, it would cost 6 figures. That labor has value. It should be treated as such. Third, career sacrifice needs to be truly shared. If someone's going to sacrifice their career for kids, it shouldn't automatically be the woman. Couples should decide whose career is more flexible, whose career has more potential, who actually wants to stay home. Not just default to the wife stays home because that's what's expected. Fourth, men need to carry the mental load. Women shouldn't have to be the household's executive assistant. Men need to remember things themselves, plan things themselves, track schedules themselves, anticipate needs themselves, share the mental load, actually share it. 5. Emotional labor needs to be reciprocal. 5. Emotional labor needs to be reciprocal. Women shouldn't be men's unpaid therapists. Men need to manage their own emotions, provide emotional support to their wives, have emotional lives outside their wives, friends, therapy. Reciprocal emotional support, not one-sided. So, let's go back to the title of this episode. Let's talk about who actually thrives in marriage. The research is clear. The data is clear. The lived experience of millions of women is clear. Men thrive in marriage. They live longer, earn more, are healthier, are happier, because marriage gives them everything they need: household management, child care, emotional support, social coordination, health management, sexual access, professional advantages, all while requiring minimal contribution from them beyond a paycheck. Women survive marriage. We're more depressed, more anxious, more stressed, more exhausted than single women, because marriage takes everything from us: our time, our energy, our careers, our bodies, our identities, our health, our peace, and gives us more work, more responsibility, more sacrifice. Marriage is great for men because they get a traditional wife. Marriage is hard for women because we become the traditional wife without getting equivalent support. Until that changes, until marriage actually becomes equal partnership instead of women serving men, the data will continue to show what it shows. Men thrive, women survive, and more women will realize we're better off alone. That's it for this episode of This Is Why I Hate Being a Wife. I'm your host. If this resonated with you, you're not alone. Millions of women are living this reality, and more of us are deciding if marriage means sacrificing everything while getting nothing in return, we'd rather. And more women are deciding if marriage means sacrificing everything while getting nothing in return, we'd rather be single. Until then, remember that you deserve actual partnership. You deserve someone who carries their weight. You deserve to Until then, remember that you deserve actual partnership. You deserve someone who carries their weight. You deserve to thrive in your relationship, not just survive it. And if you're surviving instead of thriving, maybe it's time to ask, what am I actually getting from this marriage? I'll see you next time. Take care.